All right, so for this really quick tutorial, we're just gonna paint bubbles. Now, I'm just using, as usual, primary colors, red, yellow, blue, and white paint. I already painted the canvas black, so I suggest painting the canvas black and then letting it dry all the way before you get started on your bubbles. And then I recommend I use paint bottles, so I have 3 different size paint bottles, which have 3 different size caps. So I'm going to use those caps to create the foundation for the bubbles. So it's super easy. You just need a round object. I find that the sharper the edge of the object, the better the result. So you don't want something that's got too thick of an edge on it. And then all I do is stamp it into the white paint. So I just kind of rotate it around, stamp the white in, or the cap into the white paint. And then I'm going to go in and add some bubbles. And notice how you can kind of spin it around. You can overlap them a little bit like that. And some of them are going to look kind of faint, but that's good. You want that to happen. And then just make sure you put your cap back on your paint. Don't wait too long. And then do your second smaller size. So you want to have 3 sizes at least for variety. And then I'm going to do my last size, which is the small one. Notice I'm overlapping them a little bit. And then that's it. So I'm just gonna stop there. I mean, you can go on, and you can do really big ones. These ones are all kind of, relatively small. And then you want to take a small brush. So it could be like a small little square brush, or you could have a small little round brush, whatever feels better for you. I'm going to use the round one today. So this is a number 2 round. You can use an even smaller one if you want, or bigger. And then you're going to add some different colors on it. So, but I'm going to mix everything with white. So first I'm going to do a little bit of pink. And then I'm just going to go around the edge of the bubble and make a little really faint, kind of almost like an outline. So you're going up to the edge of the bubble and you're just making a little line. So see, I can start adding the pink on there. You can kind of blend out the edge of some of where you put the cap if you want, if it got a little too thick or something. But you're just adding little lines that follow the curvature of the bubble. And they can be on any part, really. There's no like hard and fast rules here. But the bubbles you want to make it look like they're on top, you can paint right over the bubble that you want to make it look like it's behind with these little highlight colors. So it's just a matter of getting the color in there, laying it out. And I'm going to do this to all of them. Now, once you think you have a little bit of pink on all of them, you can go in and clean your brush and then do a different color. So you can do all the colors of the rainbow, and the more the better, because if you look at a bubble, that kind of thing happens. So if you want, you could just add yellow into your pink to create kind of an orange color. Still have a little bit of white mixed in there, and then just go to a different spot on the bubble. They can be next to each other, so like I can have the pink and orange kind of come together a little bit. But if it looks too transparent, add more white to your orange so that it shows up a little bit better. So relaxing to do this. So just in case you didn't know, 45 minutes of painting like greatly reduces stress. So especially something like this where you're just kind of focusing on something very simple, adding colors. You know, it's not too complicated. It can be very relaxing. And you can do it really loose, or you can try to get a little more specific with it. I'm kind of a loose painter. That's just the way I paint, and we all have our own way of doing things. So there's really no wrong or right here. It's just more about getting the colors in, following that circular movement. And then you can move into more of a yellow color. So once you have orange everywhere, you can start to get more of a bright yellow, but still mix white in so that it doesn't get lost in the black, and then you can pull that in. And again, I can pull it over the orange a little bit and the pink. So it's okay if they overlap and intertwine a little bit. And the more colors you add to these bubbles, the more it's going to kind of come to life here. And then once I have a little bit of yellow on all my bubbles, I'm going to do some blue. I'm just moving around the shape. But I want to mix white in. So now I'm moving into the blue kind of color. Mix the white in. I'm still going around the edge, following the shape. And call these like rainbow bubbles. They're so much fun. Just make sure, you know, and they can be bolder, some they can be smaller. Just making sure I'm following the shape. And if you really like a certain color, like maybe you really like blue, you can do like a little extra. It doesn't have to just be one line. You can do more than one. Totally fine. And it can come in towards the center a little bit. It doesn't have to just be around the edge. Notice I can put it a little more in the center for that one. And we can do that with any of them, you know, at any time. Just adding a little extra, bringing it a little bit in a different space. And then I want to do some green. So I'll just add a little bit of yellow to my blue and white. So now we have, you should double check and make sure you see, you know, as many colors as you want. We can also do purple because we're going to do all the rainbow colors. So, but when you're done with your green, you're going to clean your brush, and then we'll do blue and red with white for our last color of the rainbow. For some purple bubbles or purple highlights. I like to use heavy on the red, especially with these the Liquitex primaries. And then you can add that in there. And so the brighter you want it to look, just use a little more white mixed in. If it's not looking bright enough for your taste. So it's your painting. So again, just, you know, stamping with the white, adding all the colors of the rainbow if you want to. And then I like to finish off by doing just some little more white details. So once you have enough of the rainbow colors, keep in mind that you can always take your black paint and paint over any mistakes that you had, or if you feel like the colors got too heavy, you can paint over that. But I like to do a little extra with some white just on the tip there. And you can put little dots on, like, know where the bubble breaks in the stamp. You can go to the edge of one of those little areas and put a little dot. So I'm just putting little dots around. But having the 3 sizes is important so that it doesn't just look like polka dots. It has some variety, which is important for contrast. You want to have some variety in size as well as color. So not just, you know, and you can even add some white highlights like in the bubble. Little dashes following that circular pattern. It can go over your colors. Like that. And then you can add some little star, like kind of sparkle bursts. These are fun. Just using the white, you can choose a couple of those little dots that you put on the edge of the bubbles and pull down, up very gently, then right and left, and then make a little X through that T. And that can give you like a little twinkle, like a little sparkle on the bubble, which looks really cool. So this is really simple. You can make this more complicated by, you know, blending out your colors a little differently and make it more realistic looking. But I think it's fun to just start with your primary colors and do it really simple first to get the concept. And then you can always do it again and make it a little crazier as you go. But try to start simple because I think sometimes people get a little frustrated if they try to make it too complicated at first and then they get frustrated. So try to keep things simple. That's what I like to do. It's not really about impressing anyone or doing it right. Notice I can make some of those twinkles really big though, which is fun. We're just here kind of learning, relaxing. It gets you out of your head, which is super important. This is why I like to create art. I don't really do it to, it's not like I have this, like it has to be perfect or I'm trying to get it right kind of thing going on here. It's more just a way for me to relax and learn a little bit about how things look when you do different things, trying experimenting. Notice I can reestablish like a dot in the middle of my little twinkles to make it a little bolder. And then you can even just add some random little dots floating around the bubbles in the space, in the empty space. I like doing that.